Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Vleeties. My name is Ryan Van Vliet. Sitting across from me is Sonic Geno. I'll get your picture up in a second, Geno, but how are you tonight?
Man, this was a great night. I've been catching up on some stuff again. Thankfully, I saw in our messages you were catching up on some wrestling that you missed, but hopefully you were able to catch up and watch some amazing wrestling like we had this Friday night with fucking SmackDown alongside an event that was probably the best event this entire weekend against all odds.
So I did not watch TNA yet. I know that was the one you were like, please watch TNA. I did not watch that, Geno. I watched Money in the Bank. Now I watched most of it yesterday, and then I watched most of it today. And I got to be honest, amazing. Now I saw you poo-poo. Were you poo-pooing this in the chat? I thought I heard you poo-pooing it while it was on.
I was like upset in the moment. I was just like, this is just a bad event. Both the UFC event and this going on, they were just both terrible events of sports. All against all odds was an amazing night. But then after the fact, that main event decision, I realized this is a good call from WWE to see the future that I plan, what I predict for Theory as a Theory.
But do you just mean Theory winning was the only good thing? Because you were not liking it until the very end. Is that accurate? That's not right.
There were like ups and downs. Like Liv winning was kind of nice,
Awesome.
But then I was just like, this was too obvious. Especially like when she came out for the Money in the Bank match, you could tell, oh, she's breathing heavy, she's crying, she's gonna win.
Yeah, she was crying. Yeah, that part of it was a little silly. Like, oh, come on. Like she was doing the reverse James Storm. Like James Storm comes out looking pissed. Like, can't believe I'm going to lose to fucking Bobby Roode tonight. Meanwhile, Liv Morgan's running out there with tears. Like, oh, I'm going to win. Like Bianca at WrestleMania. Like, we did it. So this really was, that was off-putting a little bit. But it didn't make me think she was going to win immediately. Part of me just thought she was excited to go out there. When she won, then it was, okay, well, that's why she was crying. And then, oh my gosh, she won the match. She won the belt later on, Geno. It was such a good show. And I grew up during 2003, Geno, and there were 8 matches on pay-per-view cards. Like, you wanted a full pay-per-view, you got 8 matches. Sometimes there would be 7, and you would think, what the fuck? Why is there only 7? And this pay-per-view, is this the new direction of WWE? Like, less is more? We don't need 8 matches on every pay-per-view. We need 6 matches like an NXT TakeOver, and they gave these matches time. I was shocked how long some of these matches were. Does Wikipedia have the match times up, you think?
And I'm assuming Wikipedia would always have the match times up because people do keep track of that more than I used to. Because what I hate with WWE is when I do notice it for the first time, I can't stop noticing the camera cuts. And there's this spot, and people on Twitter even put it up there, of when Asuka's doing this combo strikes with Becky, there's 12 camera cuts in pretty much like 12 seconds.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like a high...
I hate it because I know what Kevin Dunn's trying to do. He's trying to make it seem like these strikes have more impact. And it just reminds me of there's this beatdown that set it to Cesaro on SmackDown where he's just doing like punches on the ground. Cesaro and every fucking strike, it's just camera cut, 2 camera cuts, sometimes 3 for 1 strike or 2 strikes so quickly. It's just the cuts. I know what he's trying to do because WWE's just this machine now that Kevin Dunn created of us realizing, oh, these strikes are so much more powerful because of these cuts that you just don't even notice it. You can't even pay attention to it because just how quick they are. Yeah,
but it makes it more action-packed. I don't know. I don't know what this means. I don't even notice that, number one. Malachi just throwing him out. Spliff says, Vleeties, what? It's the worst thing ever. So maybe you guys are watching it way too closely. Like maybe maybe you have Oculus Rifts on your heads watching wrestling. But I didn't even notice any camera cuts. I just watched the match. And maybe because you watch a lot of indie wrestling where they have 2 cameras in the whole arena, it's like, oh, well, they just leave the camera there and they have one guy on the ring apron like kind of doing shit. Otherwise, it's all on the boom. I didn't notice camera cuts. I thought this was a great opening match. Now, I will say Shotzi Blackheart deleted her Twitter account today because she was getting harassed for how shitty she was in this match.
Malachi Black says Money in the Bank was awesome.
Thank you, Nathan. I thought this whole show was fantastic. and very happy to be surprised. Also, we talk about having long matches. How long are these video packages these guys are putting together? Like this, that Bobby Lashley Theory match, I thought was the main event of a WrestleMania. Like I was so excited the way they built this match. I couldn't believe that we were getting this on Money in the Bank and not at SummerSlam. Like they did such a good job with these video
Tyler
packages.
Spita says thank you, Geno, for the weird game.
Yeah, what's a weird game, Geno? What does that mean?
It's something I might have gifted him just to be as a nice friend. You know, I had a little bit of spare cash aside to be nice, so he could have a fun game to stream when he gets back on Twitch.
Hell yeah, he'll be back. You will be back. So Shotzi Blackheart, or what's her name? Shotzi now. Just no Blackheart, Geno. Don't please get it right. She was awful in this match. What do you think it was nerves, or do you? Because what I thought after watching this is, oh, she's not ready for SmackDown.
I didn't mind what she was doing because, again, I've always been a fan of Shotzi, especially like you and I liked her in NXT because she had that big tag team match that she brought up on Twitter. Then this was pretty much like a year after her last like hardcore match, which was that tag team, like what was it, a fucking Halloween match that they did, which against Candice and what's her fucking name?
Indy Hartwell.
Andy Hartwell, yeah. The way. So like they had this big match with Shotzi and Ember, and I was like, this was a good match. And then WWE's like kind of had her flounder when she knows that she's a good wrestler. Yes, she has botches here and there, but thankfully they're all fine. They're safe. And that was what the whole big post of her Twitter was, that yes, this was botches, mistakes happen, and she does take it on the chin. She's fine with it. She's a professional. She's learned to be a professional over the years.
She's professional. She deleted her Twitter because people were commenting on her. I would not even have said anything, like, because I don't even know what she wrote on Twitter that got her like all the backlash. I probably would have just had my shitty match and then moved on and then hope that I got a match on Friday to redeem myself. Like that's what I was thinking. But her posting that, or at least drawing like knowledge, like every spot, dude, was just a botch. I was shocked. And maybe the moment was just like Liv Morgan came out crying. Shotzi came out shaking. Like, I can't do this. I really am having trouble doing this. Like she almost killed Alexa Bliss. Like everything was like not going well for her. Like there were other mistakes, like Raquel trying to do the deadlift, but she wasn't in the middle of the ladder. So when she went to pick it up, one side was like, oh, I'm not in the middle. That's why it looks like this. So, yeah, there were some mistakes in the match, but Shotzi was notably, whenever she was the only one in the ring, she was the one who was going to fuck it up.
And that might have been the case, but I did enjoy some spots. Like, I was a big fan, even though, yes, Alexa almost died. That senton spot, I was like, this is going to be sick. And it was, but it was sick in the wrong way.
Yeah, she kind of
landed perfectly.
She fucked that up. Yeah, she went too far, which was also like, you're doing a senton. Why is that? Why are you going so far? She tried to run up the ladder, which even if she did make the run up the ladder, it was to do like this weird short DDT thing that didn't look like it hurt anyway. It was just such a mess of, I think I have cool ideas. I want to try this stuff out. And look, you can fuck up one or two things, but everything she did wasn't going well. So, hey, it wasn't her night, but I wouldn't even draw attention to it. I wouldn't even say, there was so much awesome in this match. I wouldn't have even mentioned that, hey, you guys know me. I'm the one that fucked up everything in Money in the Bank. Just ignore it. Who cares? Wrestle on Friday, have a good match on SmackDown, and we'll all forget about it. Like, even Seth Rollins messes up stuff.
True, and that's why I'm looking forward to like what Davey's going to do with Shotzi. Hopefully, she is going to be involved somewhere, somehow during SummerSlam. But also, I do think like these small premium live events that are like not the big four or big three now, because I do not think they're going to care as much for Survivor Series as much as they will for SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and Rumble.
Sure,
that's when we're going to have like bigger, like 8, even like 11 match cards. But like the smaller ones will have like 5 or 6.
Which I think is fine because NXT did show you can just have a 5-match card and the matches are all good. You spend time on those storylines and really make those count. But while also doing that, you then also have matches and feuds that are settled on Raw and SmackDown, making your television show feel more important. AEW does that really well, where you've even brought this up, like this feels like it should be on a pay-per-view. But to them, some episodes of Dynamite are more important to them than, are we going to build to the next pay-per-view? Why don't we try and pop a rating and put CM Punk and MJF on this show? Or why don't we do this match on this Dynamite or this Rampage? Hey, we're not going up against NHL, basketball, or any sport. Let's have a big episode of Rampage. So they'll do certain WWE's like, hey, we really need to pop the main event ratings. Let's get Finn Balor and Damian Priest on there. So I understand why you would want to have, and when they advertise only 6 matches, like my fandom of being a fan for 20 years plus, I do look at this like, why is there only 6? Like, you get worried. There needs to be more than 6, but in between the video packages, in between the actual matches, now that they're giving everything time, you kind of eliminate some of those, like, oh, New Day versus the Brawling Brutes at Mania, like a 2-minute just to say we had this match and we finally got the blow off of the feud. Like, even Lashley, in theory, going 11 minutes, as I'm seeing here, was a really good match. And I know that, like, Theory is number 1 villain right now on the show. And, you know, because when he was, I thought Rollins was going to be the big one to get something with Cena, and he got something with Cena. But even Theory having his moment with Cena and then him winning this Money in the Bank, a big night for him, obviously, a crowning moment. This match did a lot to give me faith in Theory that I didn't have before.
I've always had faith in Theory ever since the NXT days with the way, then even the short period of time when he was put on the main roster as a disciple of Seth, and then having his big WrestleMania moment those years back before having that shitty match with Pat McAfee. He had a better match in a tag team contest at WrestleMania in the Thunderdome, before the Thunderdome.
Yeah, that match wasn't very good. I remember that. Well, that Mania is interesting to go back and watch because you can tell the wrestlers don't really know how to work in that environment yet. And it opens with the Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa and Nikki, which isn't a great idea for, hey, let's have a quiet match. And, you know, they're all kind of yelling at each other.
You remember?
Well, I mean, the real opener was the pre-show match, which is Drew Gulak and Cesaro. Or was that night 1 or 2? Try to remember.
Thank you, Hutch. I think Natalya versus somebody was night 2.
That might have been night 2, yeah. The best match, and again, from night 1, at least the opening was that pre-show match, Cesaro, Drew Gulak, 2 of the best sports entertainers.
And that is not technically the opening match. The opening match is the opening match. You're talking about the pre-show match, Geno. Thank you, Hutch573. So one thing that I think is going to hold Theory back, and I wonder if they're going to go back on this, his name can't be Theory. He needs a first name. He needs a wrestler name. Like, I understand that we came from an era of guys named The Rock and guys named, you know, Triple H, even though that's Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Like, Theory is just a stupid name. Like, it's a word. It has a meaning. It's like when he was Austin Theory, or he would tease himself as the Austin Theory. Like, they need, like, that would make sense. If his last name was Theory and his first name was something like a name, it makes sense. But having just Theory, it sounds like a tag team.
Yes, and again, with my whole big theory about Theory is that Cody is going to finally beat Roman at WrestleMania after Cody wins the Rumble. And then when Cody has this big moment for only just 1 moment, 1 second, he gets to celebrate like his daddy, and then Theory gets to cash in on him, take that moment away from him, and show that his daddy was a failure, just like Cody. Because Austin is the future.
Thank you, Cassidy. I'm thinking,
hopefully he does get his name changed back. Hopefully he just goes back to Austin. He realizes, you know what, I'm better than you, Vince, because I realize that I am Mr. Rainmaker. I can do whatever I want, and he decides, you know, you made the wrong call. I'm back to Austin Theory. Uses this Money in the Bank to like elevate himself as this big heel, that he's bigger than Vince, and takes that away from Cody to show that Austin Theory is the future.
That was a lot of words, Geno. I'm even thinking he doesn't have to do that. He could do a Johnny Nitro. He could just come out on the show one night. You know, I went by Theory for a while, but my real name is Doug Morris. And when I was Doug Morris, I was voted most likely to succeed in high school. Like, that would be a lot of fun, just like the Johnny Nitro promo where he became John Morrison on ECW. But there could be a rebrand. And honestly, Roman's never losing this title. So I think Theory's going to win the Impact title when WWE absorbs Impact. But we'll see how that goes. I like the match, though. Bobby winning was great. Bobby's a great babyface right now. Probably the best babyface he's ever been. And you kind of forget that he's like 45 or 46 because he looks like he is the Almighty. He's fucking amazing looking. And since this company doesn't have a WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion to show up every week, it's kind of nice that Bobby Lashley can be like I have a championship, come for me. Because even this pay-per-view, let me complain, I could be Geno too. No Finn Balor, no AJ Styles. Like, there's this huge roster of talent that just wasn't anywhere near this thing. And it kind of makes me sad that this is like AJ Styles wasn't involved in a major, not even the Money in the Bank match, just not even a match for my man.
I mean, that's true. There was no match for either of them. But what I do like, because I do want to bring this up, I guess it's a spoiler from like the Raw opener, is that Bobby Lashley mentioned anyone from any promotion. And not too long ago, just last week, Wardlow mentioned he doesn't care who from America Top Team that Scorpio Sky has to bring in to fight Wardlow. So Wardlow versus Bobby Lashley could happen because Bobby Lashley is still America Top Team. He's the only real champion of America Top Team right now. Scorpio Sky is secondary champion. The United States champion is a bigger title, so we one day could see War Dog versus Bobby.
Look,
and that'd be the biggest Wardlow.
We watched the John Cena 20th anniversary celebration. There was AEW guys on that episode of Raw, so it's not out of the realm of possibility for WWE and AEW to do things. Jericho was on an episode of the Stone Cold, what's it called? The Truth with Austin Theory. He was the Broken Skull Sessions. He was on that. So yeah, it's not impossible for WWE to also kick open that forbidden door. Thank you, Ricardio. I'm drinking a Bud Light, which Ricardio would argue does not help hydrate you, but he's wrong. The number one ingredient is water. So he's wrong. So let me have a sip of that. And Geno, I guess this Theory match was fantastic. I love how it ended. Theory tapped out real quick. The match was great, though. Really good match. And a shocker, as I've said. Bianca versus Carmella was probably exactly what I thought it was going to be. You know, it was just, all right. And we've seen these two wrestle before at Rolling Loud. They've had other matches before. But I thought this was a good match. And they kind of gave it a little extra with Carmella beating her up at the end.
Yeah, it was like not a bad match. Bianca standing tall and strong like she should in a quick match. I think it was the shortest match on the card.
Yeah.
It's like it just was decided Bianca getting this big W to prove that she's the champion and Bella is not money anymore.
Yeah, she won the match definitively. This was the second shortest match. The shortest match was Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey. That was a very short match. But yeah, it was just to show Bianca was dominant. Carmella did a great job, and Corey did a great job making it more fun to watch. You know, because this is my wife, and we don't have a dental plan. You know, all the silly jokes. So yeah, it was fine. It was whatever. It was Rhea's hurt. It was they're doing other things in the women's division right now. So Bianca can just kind of be champion, and she can extend her total days as champion. Usos versus Street Profits. Geno, holy shit. Can we be better than FTR versus Young Bucks? Can we be better than anything that the Briscoes or the club has done? This was fucking fantastic. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was Jimmy Uso coming out and getting fatter. He looked terrible. Or if it was the Street Profits going through the crowd and everybody's finally on the same train that I've been on for a while. Like Montez Ford is looking yoked as shit. And even the announcers were like, he's put on 20 pounds of muscle. And this was such a good fucking match. Am I overselling it? Like, were you just not in a WWE mood so you didn't like this match? Because I was watching this thinking this is what tag team wrestling is.
And I didn't mind this match as much, especially I hated the finish because I hate that type of, the shoulder was not pinned the entire time. When they actually do use it as a storyline, it's the worst.
Why?
But I
what do
didn't
you
mind
mean?
this match. But what I like is like with WWE tag team matches. Again, this one I enjoyed. Again, I was really focused on the camera cuts at this point too. I hated it. I hate when I notice it because I just can't stop noticing it. Then when I see it,
just watch the show.
But
I don't know why
It's hard for me not to.
I don't know why internet. Hold on. I don't know why internet message board Reddit people do that. Like who fucking cares? Like everybody. Like I've never ever thought like while watching a movie, why did they change the camera? Like just watch your show.
No, but like in movies, at least when they do cuts, it's not immediate. There's normally a fade. Sometimes they do the immediate cut, but it's not like WWE where it's just immediate.
Yeah, there's
no
cuts.
Kick. It's not like that.
There's no cuts in the boys.
We're going 30 frames instead of going 4K, all this shit.
There's no cuts in the boys. Frames. Yeah, you're right. It's just one fucking still camera the whole time they're fighting.
No, I'm just saying it's better. That's in television. Because they run 30 frames, that's all television movies are. They're always going to run 30 frames per second. It's a little bit easier, but here with WWE and they're trying to be live television, you're trying to see all these camera cuts and it's immediate, and it sucks when you do notice, at least with me, because you just can't stop seeing it when you do see it the first time. You're like, okay, so each moment. Like, what sucked was this handicap match of the last event with Omos and MVP versus Bobby. That match sucked. I couldn't stop watching.
That match sucked because it was Bobby Lashley versus MVP.
The camera cuts were the worst part of it, if you really noticed.
This was a really good fucking tag team match.
This was a fine tag match.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry that you can't watch a show or watch a wrestling match, like at least WWE with, like, for you. And I'm going to say this. For you, it's either, I don't like the storyline, or they should be doing this. Now it's, I don't like the camera cuts. Like, it's just every single thing that this product is doing, you're not going to like anyway. Like, I don't even notice camera cuts. Like, I'm surprised that people in the chat are like, oh, it's constant. Like, I've never, maybe it's, and look, if I've been watching WWE my whole life, so maybe I'm just used to it. So to the point where it's like, well, yeah, you know what? This was a weird match because there wasn't enough camera cuts. I need more camera cuts. I don't know why there's a limit on camera cuts all of a sudden for the viewing audience. It's not like you watch when you watch like a boxing scene in a movie, it's not like, oh my God, it's just what the fuck. It's why are they showing me one fighter and then the other fighter? I just want to watch one frame the whole time. I don't get that. I thought this was a great story that these guys were telling, and I thought that the camera work was phenomenal.
Seriously, this was a really good tag team match, but I do feel like the Usos just are an amazing tag team. But what we need, even though I hate it as well, just like the New Day hates it, we need New Day versus Usos again. We need to have this match never end because it's the best tag team matches WWE's put on the main roster, being the Usos versus the New Day. They never have a bad match.
This was the best match I've ever seen. I'm just going to say that. I went into this match with 4-minute expectations, and they blew me away with 20 minutes of brilliance. Like, and I love FTR. I have to defend them to Kevin. He's like, what do you like about him? It's like, I like that one guy's bald and one guy's a mullet. I think that's really, really dynamic. I enjoy that. With this match, it had the athleticism. It had the over-the-top spots. It had... They tried to mix in that little storyline just on commentary that Dawkins and Tez haven't really been seeing eye to eye. Jimmy Uso's fat. This was just, there were so many interesting things happening in this match that I really enjoy the entire thing. I didn't know that I was supposed to be internet guy going, fucking camera's ruining this. I thought it was such a well-told story, especially like when Dawkins wasn't on the apron for like 5 minutes. It was like, where the fuck did this guy go? And then he comes in, House of Fire, from the heavens. Montez Ford is yoked. Really, really fun match. I'm kind of surprised because you like NXT and, I don't know, it seems like this match is just perfect wrestling. All happened right here. And normally you'd be the one that would be like, that's why this should go on last. Like, these guys are so good. And you're over here telling me we need to get different black guys in it. Like, that's such a weird take.
I enjoyed this match. Again, I'm not saying this was a bad match. But again, my issue is that one of the big issues I have is that they'd be doing this storyline again when they've done this multiple times where it's like, oh, someone's shoulder was not pinned the entire time. It was the referee's just in the bad position, so we get to do this match again. And that's the only reason, so we can do this match again at SummerSlam, and hopefully it's going to be better, where we have a better referee, or maybe no referee calls. Maybe it's just pinfall, not just submission, just a submission victory.
Yeah, or
and then we do that again, have a fake submission victory, and then we just keep this going on till the end of time.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what do you mean you don't like that finish? I think it's a good finish because Tez had the argument, like, my shoulder was up, and, you can kind of protect them. They didn't lose that epic match. So these guys, we look at the New Day and the Usos. This is kind of how they built that, trading wins, or one team doesn't necessarily look bad. And yeah, we leave this match going, what? His shoulder was up. We need to keep this thing going. But also, as a fan of football or basketball, you also say, well, you got to be better than the worst ref. Like, you can't rely on, hey, the referee saw my shoulder. Like, you need to fucking kick out on one, like Bobby Lashley. So there's several layers to that finish that I actually enjoy. Now, I did kind of half expect Mick Foley to come out and restart the match, but no, that didn't happen. But I really enjoyed this match. It blew me away. I felt bad for Ronda Rousey and Natalya because, like, I was watching this on my phone and I was exhausted but after this match. So then when Ronda and Natalya were coming out, there was nothing these two were going to do to entertain me the way those guys just did. So really enjoyed the tag match. I thought that the directing by Kevin Dunn was fantastic. And then Ronda versus Natalya. What'd you think of this match? I didn't really pay attention. I was kind of burnt out on wrestling after by the time I got to this.
I ended up enjoying the Ronda versus Natalya match. I know a lot of people don't really like it too much. Natty, I've always been a fan of. I always will support Natty. She's been around for so long. She should be a 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion, but she's not because Davey has no respect for her as much as they should. Natty deserves better, just like Tamina deserves a lot better than she's been.
I don't know how
she's been here ever since the Usos debut.
I don't know how I talked to you. I don't know how I talked to you, like, because I asked you, what'd you think of Jimmy Uso and Jay versus the Street Profits, and you go, I didn't mind the match. And then I ask you about Ronda and Natalya, and you're like, it was good. Like, you were so excited for this match when I thought the last match, like, revolutionized tag team wrestling in WWE. Like, wow, I've never seen anything like this in WWE. Not since the Hart Foundation and the British Bulldogs at WrestleMania 3. But then Natalya deserves more. She's phenomenal. Tamina's not even listed anywhere on this screen that I'm looking at. And somehow she got mentioned. But meanwhile, you did not mind the Usos and the Street Profits.
Yeah, that was just a good tag team match. We had to put that on a pay-per-view. We had to have the tag team titles pre-represented because,
you didn't mind
again, as we found out and know, thanks to that Thanksgiving promo just last year with Roman doesn't like America, so fuck Roman. He doesn't support country. He doesn't want to be here for a 4th of July weekend. He doesn't want to be here only for the big shows like SummerSlam. So again, Roman is a loser, but at least the Usos wanted to come here support America for the weekend, but not on 4th of July day. So again, they suck as well. They went to Roman's private island. So again, what we care about is people who've been here for so long and actually still work, like Natty and Tamina, who deserve better and deserve to be respected more than they really are.
They are respected. What does that mean? What do you mean than they really are? Like, what do you say? You say these vague,
wrestling
and then you yell over me on my fucking thing. This is mine, It's called Vleeties. You come and sit with me, and I appreciate that. But when I start talking and you get louder, like, no, that's not how this fucking works. So you've done it a few times. Sometimes I just make a joke that's going to be picked up on the audio for the podcast version. So you don't have to raise your voice at me in the middle of something that I'm saying. So let's just make that fucking clear. So yes, Natalya is respected, as is Tamina. Wrestling history, wrestling lineage is respected all around.
Please be quiet so I can hear Geno.
Yeah, Geno, go ahead.
Tyler Spida says I hate when he does all the time.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You get to do this one, Geno. Walk me through why nobody likes Natalya, but we all love her anyway, and I sing her praises all the time, but she doesn't get the respect she deserves.
And here's the thing, we don't all respect her as much as we should. That's the people always say she sucks, she has the worst matches, but the point is Natalya knows how to work a match, work the crowd better than any other diva and any other women's wrestler does in WWE. We have all these great women, like we think Charlotte's great as a heel. That's all she can do. She can't be a babyface. Natty can work both babyface and heel perfectly, just like Tamina, but WWE does not give them the time on TV that we put them either in the 24/7 division or put them in a throwaway one-time title match to have them lose. They deserve more.
Liv Morgan cashes in Money in the Bank. She's the new SmackDown Women's Champion, dude. Now, did you know it was going to be a same night cash in? This made me kind of feel like Ronda's not sticking around.
Especially after Liv's promo backstage, after she won Money in the Bank, and she said, "Oh, I could just hold on this for WrestleMania." I'm like, "You're not going to do that. Davey's not going to do that." She could just cash in the day of. So I'm just like, okay, how does this match end with Ronda? Seeing Ronda hurt like she was, I was like, okay, she's gonna cash in now.
I didn't even think that. I guess I'm super slept. I just kind of thought like, wow, that was a good match. I was a little sleepy through most of it, but Ronda's still the champion, and I thought Liv could build towards something for a while. And no, I saw her as a champion immediately anyway. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool way to do that, because they even brought it up during the men's Money in the Bank. Like, Liv Morgan won the match earlier and now is the champion. Like, we could have had Theory win the match and then go, Roman, where you at? I'm cashing in right now. And then he wins the belt by count out. That would have been fascinating. So up next, men's Money in the Bank. We get to see all the entrances, and then Adam Pearce comes out. Now, were there rumors about this? Did anyone know this was going to happen?
And the big rumor I remember going around was the whole, even though it was absolutely false, and I do hate when people bring up this type of rumors, that Cody's injury was fake, and that Cody was going to be the extra guy. That there was rumor possibly of someone else, but it wasn't at all accurate or completely true until the day after we found out there was going to be one more man.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, when they announced the one more man, I was like, maybe it is Cody. Not necessarily he faked his injury, but maybe he's going to be able to work this match in some way. Like John Cena tore a triceps and came back 2 months later. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Cody can get surgery. Once the scar heals, I know the muscle's not going to be healed up, but he can still get out there and have one arm or something. He wrestled with it torn, so who knows? Maybe you tape him up real good, put him in like a sling or some shit, and he can go out there and figure it out. But yeah, so as soon as Adam Pearce was out there, I was thinking, is it AJ Styles? Is it like an Edge or somebody who's been off TV for a few weeks? There was also a video, is The Fiend back? What was that thing that I watched about the Bazaar?
That is Edge finally getting his spooky supernatural gimmick that was rumored to be what they were doing.
Oh, that sucks. All right, never mind then. I was like, is The Fiend back? Dude, this is awesome. So I didn't know that it was going to be just Edge. So Edge is now The Fiend?
Yes, Edge is now going to be the new Fiend because, yes, Alexa Bliss is now just her boring, normal self. There's no more Fiend Alexa. She even said she's boring. She said on Ryan Satin, because I'm one of the few people that watched Out of Character with Ryan Satin, she says that she even admits to herself that she's just a boring person and that she feels that her character is 100% just herself. She is just a naturally boring, not this charismatic person. She needs to play a different character, actually be a character. That's why she was a big fan. She actually liked her old dark Alexa Bliss character she became because of the Fiend.
Was it dark, though? Because it was really like Playground on a swing set. Like, I would have preferred if it was dark. I didn't like the Lily stuff is terrible. Her being the goddess or whatever that was, the 5 Feet of Fury. Like, she could just be hot chick. Is she not allowed to do that?
Well, I mean, the whole Mean Girl stuff she was doing, they could go back to it. She's not said where her character is going to go, but right now she's just herself. But she was explaining like how it's dark Alexa was the whole Fiend stuff and how she did become... Yes, it's not as dark as we could have gone like The Fiend, but it still is WWE's version of dark compared to how everything else is all colorful and cartoon.
Yeah, like, because Bray Wyatt, when he was in the Firefly Funhouse, like, that was what I looked at Alexa Bliss, like Alexa's Playground, like, all that red, blue, yellow, and green shit with all the primary colors in my face. Like, all of that wasn't dark to me. It was really annoying and off-putting. And sometimes, yeah, she would kind of do, like, that face, and then it was, this is dark, that she's letting in the Fiend. So, sure. But it took us like 20 miles to go 1 foot. Like we had to sit through a lot of primary color, really bright lights on a swing set bullshit, and then every once in a while, Shayna Baszler would be running from Shaking Lily shit, which was so dark and demented. But I was hoping that was the Fiend. I didn't know Edge was going to steal Seth Rollins' gimmick and then steal Bray Wyatt's. It's kind of fascinating that this legend has been home for 9 years. Oh, what's my return going to be like? I know. I'll do what everyone else is doing. Maybe he can come back as like the savior of the unwashed masses and he can wear like a bathrobe to the ring. That would be fun.
He'll do all these gimmicks. He's going to have all these great characters. He's going to showcase his acting work because after Viking and after Haven, he just wants to have more work, and Davies going to give him that work to be all these new characters he's going to come up with.
Did you ever watch Haven? I watched like one episode, and I thought I could do this show, and I never watched it again.
I watched like one of the last season or the last two seasons, one where it was Edge and Christian were acting, and I felt like they did really well with the show, but like I never really got a chance to watch it all the way from beginning to end.
Yeah, I don't know if it's on any streamings, and I didn't even know. Like, I know he was on Vikings. I didn't know what that was on though. It was just one of those. Well, that's not for me. I have no idea what it is. So, yeah, I think that's good for Edge. Just keep doing this shit. Is he gonna come back and fight Finn Balor, or have we already moved on from the Judgment Day?
I think he might come back to fight Finn Balor, but my whole hope is because Finn's going after all these legends. He took out Edge. He's taking out Rey. Hopefully this means because all Goldberg's whole time, whenever he comes back, is people are disrespecting legends. So it's got to be Goldberg comes out because Finn's disrespecting legends.
I would like Goldberg Finn at SummerSlam. That'd be a fun, just kind of one-off, which Goldberg can win, and that doesn't hurt Finn Balor for losing to Goldberg has to win every once in a while to stay like dominant. So he can beat up a Dolph Ziggler here and there. He can beat up a Bobby Lashley. But yeah, I think it would be cool if he had a match with Finn Balor just to see that. I would like to see it. So I'm okay with that. Theory won Money in the Bank, Geno. What the fuck? I thought Bray Wyatt was going to be the 8th man. Thought Kevin Nash was going to be the 8th man. Who knew it was going to be Theory? And then I was shocked that he actually won. I was so set on Riddle winning this thing. And then as the match was going on, I was like, am I a fucking idiot? Drew McIntyre is clearly going to win this thing. And then as the match went on, I was like, well, of course Sammy's going to win this. How fun is that going to be on SmackDown, where he's trying to be like part of the bloodline and he's got the briefcase. I'm not going to cash it in on you, Roman. Like, clearly Sammy's going to win. And then there was a moment where Amos just chokeslammed everybody and looked all dominant. And I thought, well, duh, they love this fucking giant. He's going to win. And then Madcap Moss had a few moments where I thought, well, no shit, he's going to win. So Theory was the last one on my list to win this match. But I think it makes sense. And for him to lose earlier in the night and then to win the main event, very Seth Rollins-esque, a la WrestleMania 31. And it's happened other times in history, but I think it was done very well, Gino. I'm not mad. I think him having an amazing match with Bobby Lashley and then winning all in one night is a good look for him.
And the thing is, all of this goes back to Seth Rollins, because he's learned by being Seth Rollins' true disciple what to do to be at this spot that he's in. From years back, people forget they were together. I still remember that WrestleMania.
I did forget that. I had no idea.
Yes. So they were still together. They worked together during this ladder match. So Theories realized, I can do this. I can take his place. I can be basically Seth Rollins now. He's getting this moment, this time to shine. And when he was announced as the X-Men, I was like, oh, great, Theory is going to win. Because part of me was like, we could copy what we did with Brock and have, instead of Brock coming out, it's Theory at the absolute end when, like, Riddle's up there. He's about to win. He just gets stuck in his place because he hears A-Town down. And he just can't move for like 2 minutes, gets taken down, and Theory wins like Brock Lesnar did to Ali.
Yeah, I did also think, well, and even when they were doing the eighth man, for some reason, I know Brock has a match at SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar! Like, it just, oh, well, that makes total sense. Brock would just come out right now and win Money in the Bank. Why wouldn't they do that? That's kind of what I was half expecting, but I think it was fine. Have Theory win it. It was a surprise, you know. When you go back and watch 2003 stuff, there is surprises like this where, you know, on the back of the DVD boxes, it would say card subject to change. And then about 90% of the time, that's not true. The card is that. But sometimes you do need to mix it up and have an unlikely winner in something like this. Like, we didn't advertise Theory was even in this match, and now he won. And yeah, there's some behind the scenes powers that be that are helping him get there, but that's okay in like a Money in the Bank. Like, if it happened at a Royal Rumble and we had to then go, oh God, WrestleMania is going to be this, it's annoying. But Money in the Bank is different because that could happen at any time.
Yes, that's why I'm looking forward to, hopefully, my theory being correct, that the one man to beat Roman will be Cody at WrestleMania, doing this for his daddy, and then he fails his daddy's dream because he immediately loses to Theory at the end. That's my whole hope. That WrestleMania, we get that main event where Cody is the one man to finally beat Roman, but Theory takes that moment away from him.
I was just thinking, you don't think we have a triple threat match at SummerSlam where it's a last man standing? Roman and Brock are just laid out. They've just done an F5 off the stairs through thumbtacks through two tables. And then Theory comes out, cashes in, pins Brock Lesnar, steals Roman's belts, or one of the belts or whatever. I don't know how they're going to try and do that. Because do you think the belts are together forever now?
I feel that they're together forever right now, just like the tag belts are together forever.
Right.
And soon the women's titles and the IC and US title are going to be together forever. But that will be after Survivor Series, hopefully, where we will get Bobby Lashley versus Gunther. That's my whole other hope as we get that match.
Bobby Lashley and who?
Gunther.
Oh, I think he said Encanto. I was like, who's that? I was like, they have
the Intercontinental Champion.
They have a Disney character named Encanto now? That would be fascinating if WWE was just blatantly ripping off Encanto. Yeah, and it's Gunther, isn't it? Isn't it Gunther?
It's Gunther or Gunther, however you want to pronounce it, but it's just it's not Walter to me.
It's not Gunther. I like Jericho's argument. Walter's the dumbest wrestling name ever. I thought that was hilarious when he came out and defended the name change like he works for WWE still. Overall, Money in the Bank was fucking awesome. I was very surprised. Maybe that helped me because, like, you went into this with, like, a negative, you hate WWE. I went into this like, well, I have to watch this. And then I was surprised very pleasantly. I thought it was a really, really good show. And I have not watched Against All Odds yet. I don't even know any of the results yet. I assume Josh Alexander is still the champion. I don't think Joe Doring is. If Joe Doring is the champion, I will not watch that show ever again. I'm going to make that clear. And And what do you think about Alan Angels? Leaves AEW, doesn't resign. He has a match this Thursday night on Impact.
Yes, he has a match. Sadly, that does spoil one match for you because it's going to be against against Mike Bailey, who did beat Trey Miguel in a really good match. You should see.
You didn't have to tell me. I didn't know. I didn't remember all that. I just kind of saw. I saw Alan Angels was wrestling.
Title match.
I didn't know it was a title match. I just said he's wrestling on Impact.
Oh, that's all you saw. I thought you saw the tweet like I did. I thought you checked Impact's Twitter like I know.
No, I never. I don't go on.
Tyler Spida says what made Money in the Bank so great and better than Forbidden Door is because for once the unexpected happened. I will take it.
That's a good point. Like we always talk about with AEW. I forget who brought this up. It was some wrestling mind, like a Steve or a Larson or somebody. AEW, maybe it was Meltzer actually. AEW relies so heavily on the big surprise. Like you don't who's going to be the mystery person, and it's either Christian or Samoa Joe or Cesaro or Bryan Danielson or Adam Cole. Like they constantly are able to have these big surprise moments that you're not expecting, and eventually that's going to run out. Like they are going to have to start like, oh, what's the big surprise? Kenny Omega's back, or what's the big surprise? Miro's back, or like they're gonna run out of these. Hey, we're pulling wrestlers from other companies, or like, hey, you already know these people from somewhere else. Now they're on our show. Check it out. And WWE finally did where it's like we're all sitting around going, it's fucking either Matt Riddle or Drew McIntyre. Those are the only people that it can be. I hate this shit. And luckily, we're able to, oh, wow, I didn't expect Theory to win. Theory is somebody that had a good match earlier in the show, so I'm okay with him winning because not only did I not expect it, I think they did it in an interesting way. Like, if he had just not even, if he didn't have any matches earlier in the night and then just came out and won, he never had to qualify, that would have sucked. Liv Morgan cashing in the same night, that was fantastic. So, yeah, I thought the whole show for a 6-match card, and then the Usos match, I thought they did a really good job where like Forbidden Door it just relied heavily on AEW versus New Japan, which is what it was advertised as. And then the Cesaro debut really was like the only moment, like even here we are, how many days removed from Forbidden Door. Those are like the only things I really remember. Like I don't remember what happened in the Sting and Darby Allin 6-man tag. Although when they hit Sting with the BTE trigger and he popped back up, that was cool. Sting's the best.
And Sting is really good. Not as good as PCO though. You got to see this amazing match, the 5-on-5 match. I'm sure you're going to enjoy seeing Chris Harris back in the ring one more time.
Yeah,
because that's thing. Like when I watch like SmackDown, and then at the same time I was watching Against the Odds, like this is such a better show. I was watching Against the Odds, and then I think because my big was the next day, I was just like on that high of like Impact so good because of how good all these matches were. Joe Doring had a sweet match. The Clockwork Orange House, a fun match, which I'm always a fan of, and Raven was on commentary, just added so much more to the story.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, like I like Impact Wrestling. When I watch it, my expectations are always lower, and it is we talk about too many camera cuts with WWE. Like I'm not expecting any from Impact. Like they're doing their Impact still chugging along here in the Skyway Studios, or they're chugging along here in front of 400 people. It's a different environment than when I watch WWE. Like WWE, although had to move from Allegiant Stadium, that looked like a pretty ruckus crowd there at MGM Grand. So clearly the people that were excited to go to Allegiant were still very excited to go to MGM Grand. So I thought that was cool. I thought the crowd was really adding to that money, and who knows how much of that is pumped in, like audio or whatever, to make it sound better. But at least it's better than Impact in a lot of ways, where there's no audience, or you can hear like the one guy doing let's go, EY. You can hear one guy trying to start a chant, and everyone's kind of like, boo, EY sucks, VBD sucks, we want whoever to win. Like you can kind of hear them having conversations.
And I mean, that's true, but at the same time, even though, like, yeah, we all like the whole mass-produced, like, overproduced stuff that WWE does, sometimes you do want to see, like, a nice independent show. You do feel like you're in, like, an actual, the intimate arena, an actual intimate experience, like, as if you were there. Because at the same time, I actually could have gone to Against the Odds if I had the ability to. Sadly couldn't, because had no money. Currently.
Didn't you buy Tyler Spida video game?
I did. I got $13. It was on sale, so I got $13 I could give you.
Where did you get $13 from?
I have ways to get money if I absolutely need or just want money. There's
you,
always ways to make money.
do you do
But I
like
did make enough money in time to possibly go there.
do you do the plasma thing still?
Not plasma right now, but I have other ways to acquire cash if I need it.
Do you get money from donating sperm?
No, I do not. Never
Well,
tried that, actually. Never seen if there's any close
I like
by.
that you said no, I do not. I was like, no, I didn't ask like if you had done that. I just generally I was wondering if that was a thing that existed. Because yeah, Geno, I had a dinner party and I felt so bad because you were like, you always have dinner parties. It's like, Geno, dinner parties are important, okay? So we need to get you some dinner party friends. Like, when was the last time you went to a friend's house and they cook you dinner?
I've never had friends that cook me dinner. It's always either them
See?
coming here to eat with us or us just saying, we'll just all hang out and go to like a bookstore.
We gotta
with like
get
Barnes
you.
and Noble and then like Starbucks.
We gotta get you some dinner party friends. I feel terrible. Like, I felt so bad. You were so excited for Against All Odds. I forgot it was happening. Like, I didn't finish The Boys until an hour like before we started. Like, I have not. I have so many things. This whole weekend was hectic. I barely finished Money in the Bank. This was a lot of things happening, and I felt bad, because I was like living it up. Bought a lawnmower, bought some cars. We had a party. I went to a dinner party on Friday, and then I hosted a dinner party the night after. Like, dinner parties are important to me. And by dinner parties, I mean, like, I grilled. I made some burgers and dogs. We drank some beers. We had a phenomenal evening, and I felt bad, Geno. Did you do anything for the 4th?
I sadly didn't because it's just been me and my stepdad here. My mom, my little brother, they all went to visit my grandmother. And forget where the fuck she's at right now. Because the world's all fucking over the place. Everything's slowly dying. And time is passing by and we'll never get it back.
We won't.
So I was just enjoying this 4th job, kind of, I guess, with myself. But like being with my son to be like, hey, hopefully everything's good. And we seem to be fine. Everything's going as well as we can and living our lives to the best of our abilities.
What did you guys do? What did you and your stepdad? Did you guys go watch fireworks?
No, we pretty much were just sitting down, like chilling, just talking, having a little bit of conversation, just being like, life is good.
Did you have some Bud Lights?
We don't have any BLLs. And that's the only real BL is the BLL, motherfucker.
No.
You don't need Bud Lights. Bud Light Lime is the real shit.
Oh my gosh, please, one step at a time. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed some Bud Light Limes, if that's what happened. Yeah, I thought, for the whole weekend, yeah, it was out and about, getting sunburnt. Dakota in the chat, Vleeties thinks everyone has friends to cook them dinner. Once you turn 31, you should have that. You should have a group of people that are willing to cook you dinner, or at least invite you over to order food, or even to invite you to go out to eat. And maybe you go to Cheesecake Factory. Geno, when was the last time you went to Cheesecake Factory?
I've never gone to Cheesecake Factory, and I never want to, because one of the big things, because you can see this now on the menus thanks to our laws we've passed. Look at the calorie count for Cheesecake Factory. You can see just how bad that is. You should never go to Cheesecake Factory. No one should.
Just have the Thai lettuce wraps as an appetizer, and then cheat a little bit and have a slice of cheesecake. Geno, you're less than 1,000
that's
calories.
Cheating a little is cheating a lot. I'm sorry for interrupting. It's too much when you really look at it. Because I did see the numbers. Because for a time, I did care about calories. I don't anymore. But I still will never go there because the family that built Cheesecake Factory were bigger people, and all their stuff is in the thousands. Even things that are salads are not good for you. You should not have salad from Cheesecake.
But what if you okay, let's imagine this world. I have my Apple Watch on. I closed my red ring, all right? My red ring, I burned, according to this, and my active calories are over 1,600. That's a lot. Now, let's just say on a day where I burn 2,000, hey, you know what? I've worked really hard today. Even if I have some cheesecake, I'll still be at a calorie deficit. Am I then allowed to go to Cheesecake Factory?
Well, that I guess would depend on if you feel you're in a position where you can gain those extra calories and be okay with it. At the same time, there might be one day that I might go to Cheesecake Factory. That'll be when I'm either at a lowest point I can be, when I just don't care at all about my health whatsoever, even worse than I do now, or if I'm in a better position where I do care about myself, and I'm just this could be a nice day that I do this for myself.
How much do you care about your health? That's a good question. I wonder, because are you exercising again? Or you're going outside? Did you go outside on the 4th of July?
I did sit on the porch because I decided to sit outside and be like, you know what, this is a nice moment. And it was raining, which I do kind of prefer sitting out in the rain. just to be kind of out there with the world, with nature, just feel the world moving in a sense, feeling the world, experiencing the moment together with myself, my spirit, my essence, and the world at one. Because I do find myself more as what would be the word I have? It's the fucking religion. I'm trying to remember like the religion that kind of focuses more on the word paganism. It's like the idea like connecting with Mother Nature, the mother of God, the actual earth itself, and connecting spiritually with the nature, with the entire essence of what our planet is.
You can't even sit outside without overthinking it. Tonight was NXT, the Great American Bash, Geno. Is that true?
Yes, tonight was the Great American Bash. I did not watch it because I hate NXT now. It's so sad.
NXT's terrible. And when you look at the lineup, it sounds like something we should still like, right? Like Braun Breaker versus Cameron Grimes. Now, I'm not big on, I like both of them enough to want to watch them wrestle, but as a title match, absolutely not. Carmelo Hayes, who you like, Grayson Waller, who I used to like that's another match that sounds like that would be up your alley. The Creed brothers, who I think are terrible, but one of the Creed brothers did this move, Geno, where he held the guy up like this, and he was like on his knees, and he like was able to get onto his feet and like gorilla press him up. It was amazing. I'd never seen that in wrestling. It was so cool. They're fighting Roddy Strong and who's Damon Kempt?
That is what's his name? Gable Stevenson's brother.
What? That's Jason Stevenson?
Yes, that's his new name, and I'm looking forward to like if he's gonna keep the Kemp name, Mr. Gable Stevenson, when he gets called up and actually used as a wrestler, if he's gonna still stick with his real name, even though his brother is using a fake.
He better be Gable Stevenson. I'm okay with them changing the brother's name because if there is like, hey Gable, this is your brother, almost like if Bo Dallas had to be, Bo Wyatt. It's like, you guys don't have to be brothers everywhere you go. You can be separated every once in a while. Toxic Attraction, who we like, is taking on Roxy. Is Roxanne Perez Roxy?
Yes, that is Roxy. Yeah. And she's doing great for herself. She's one of the few women that I do like in NXT.
Shouldn't we like it? Tiffany Stratton I don't like. I know Nathan liked her when she first came out. I don't think he likes her anymore. I don't think anybody. I think when you saw like the images of her, everyone thought she was just another hot blonde. Like we all thought like, oh, Liv Morgan's going to be a hot chick now. And then she's not that hot and she's not good at wrestling. Why is she fighting Wendy Chu? Which one's Wendy Chu?
Wendy Chu was Tian Shaw. She's now this narcoleptic kind of character. She's always in a onesie and sleeping.
That is awful. This show sucks. I don't even I know. Are they trying to get it canceled? Because I know they always brag like WWE wants more or USA wants more WWE programming. Nobody's watching this shit, right?
Not as much as they used to, and that's why hopefully the report with the whole when Triple H decided to show back up and said he's back, I was hoping that maybe this is going to be the slow turn where we will go back to black and gold, and maybe one day it will come back.
Wait, when did he do that? Was he on NXT like, I'm back?
Not like on TV, but there was reports that he went to the Performance Center like earlier, I think it was last week before, and he said that he's back.
Yeah, this show sucks. But Geno, real quick, before we go, The Boys, I'm all caught up, so spoiler alert for those who are not. This was a good episode of The Boys. There was a lot less ass stuff. Or was there still ass stuff in this one? There was, Soldier Boy was going to fuck some old fat chicks. That was a little odd. But I don't think there was any anal play in this one, was there?
No, there was no asses involved in this, except, well, yeah, there was no asses. I was saying like the black goat, but yeah, none of the animals that were there were involving asses.
Yeah, the octopus was trying to fuck a chick and a dude. That was awkward. Yeah, you know what? The show's weird. I was not a fan of the octopus sex. The Deep is like the worst character. He makes no, like, he's the worst. I hope he gets run over by the A-Train, who's awesome. Whose brother's still paralyzed, Can't they just fix him? Can't they just give him compound V and he'll walk?
I mean, that could be something we could see. I'm really wondering what's going to happen with this whole complication that A-Train has because of what Ashley was telling him. Hey, you're alive now. You have Blue Hawk's heart, and it's all because we're trying to help you. So now you can have our message and try to push that. But maybe A-Train will have that change heart and realize, you know what, I need to be against what Ashley and the Seven are all about now. But the whole thing with the Deep, what I'm interested in, even though it's going to probably be a throwaway scene, is I kind of hope they actually do have Hannity on the show. So we have Hannity interviewing the Deep.
That is kind of funny. They did name drop. I'm going to be on Hannity. because they do play really well with like what's happening in the real world versus what's happening on their show, like in their show world. But yeah, I'm going to be on Hannity. It's such a funny line. Like, yes, get him on Hannity. That'd be fantastic. So I'm interested to see where the rest of the season goes. You said there's 2 more episodes, right?
No, this was the second last episode. We only have 1 more episode, so we had to go through all of this, which I really liked. Like the whole stuff with Black Noir, I loved. That we got to really understand and see, even though in a cartoon animal form, what really happened, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
seeing his brain get crushed. And
his
he's just
brain was
kid.
crushed, and he like touched his head, and like he's and the guy was eating almonds in front of him. So they did a lot of good. Yeah, I at first when that was happening, I was getting mad. I was like, you watching wrestling WWE? I was like, they're getting too fucking weird with this show. I can't even watch it anymore. But I sat with it. I stuck with it. I watched a man talk to cartoon characters, which is like something I never allow to happen. And it was good because Noir not talking. This was a great way to kind of give us what he was thinking or going through or feeling, and having these animated characters talk. I thought was really, really, really interesting. And then, yeah, Soulja Boy beat the shit out of him all the time. So you can kind of, and you also got they also did a good, this was a great episode for turning, Soulja Boy was already kind of heel, but you were rooting for him to kill Homelander. But now you're kind of thinking, I don't know, dude, this guy might be worse than Homelander. And now we found out that he's so spoilers. This is a big spoiler. Everyone walk away. Although, Geno, I was telling Geezy, I feel like I already knew this. He's Homelander's, like Homelander was the product, because he always brings up I was made in a lab, and it was from the seed, from the sperm, from the cum of Soldier Boy. So they he talks about being the upgrade. It's, yeah, you're his son. Like that's father's son. So this is going to create a new dynamic of, are they really going to be able to kill each other?
It is like a really interesting situation we have, and thankfully someone else here has read the comics, so they understand Homelander is supposed to be like the offspring, a clone, similar to like the idea of being a son, but he was actually supposed to be the clone of what was the male version of Stormfront, which turned out to be in this show. So they changed up a little bit, which I don't mind. It's like it was like, oh, so he's Soldier Boy. Instead of there being multiple Soldier Boy clones that get made over time. This is just the original Soldier Boy. They changed up these ideas and made this new one where he's the first American soldier, the first of the 7, the payback team. His son gets to be part of the 7, the group that took over from Payback. And now we're going to see like how he's going to do now that his team gets taken away from the way. So they're just this old team that no one cares about. People care all about the 7 and what the 7 are doing. And especially also finding out, as we do earlier in the episode, that this whole Compound V, the temporary V, will kill Huey and Butcher if they do keep going, and they're going to, because Butcher doesn't care anymore except for to kill the Soups.
Well, and they said 3 to 5 times. Haven't they done it 3 to 5 times already? Like, that was the other thing that I kind of noticed. And like, I tried to read that paper, I didn't, they just showed it quickly. The only thing that I saw was seizures 1 to 2 hours. So I was like, what? They have seizures? Their brain is bleeding? Because I thought they did it in Russia. Then they did it with Crimson Countess, and they did it at Herogasm. So they've already done it 3 times. So are they just saying, like, if they do it one more? And they just did it with the Mind Guy. So they've done it 4 times. They should be dead.
They may be, then that's when we're going to figure out, like, how bad this really is, or how, if their bodies are somehow even stronger with this temporary V, and that they're actually part of the few that can carry it. Even though, yeah, you see their brains are bleeding through their fucking ears, which is just a weird little attack. Like, it's weird, like, how well they do this show, because, like, you see all this stuff. And what I also loved, just because I do like Starlight's character right now, is when she was recording Homelander at the elevator, and him saying, oh, we were just throwing our lines. And so there's always going to be those people who, yes, it's like the joke of the right-wing people are going to be like, yeah, he was just recording lines. This wasn't real. None of this was real what Homelander was saying. It's not true. Why would you believe it? Homelander's telling the truth. It's all fake. She's trying to make it out to look bad.
Homelander's the one who's spitting the fake media narrative, And then when Mother's Milk, when MM goes to, hey, why are you taking my son to a fucking rally, an abortion rally, a Biden rally, a Black Lives Matter rally? And he's like, no, Soldier Boy's not even out there. You know, it's like, watch the news. And Mother's Milk is like, fuck you. We know the truth. We know the answers, Geno. Get woke, Geno, right-wingers. Are you serious? This is the first show that I've watched that's like kind of making fun of libtards in a long time. It's fascinating to watch because it's on Amazon, which is like, I thought the big libtard network, but Bezos making fun of Biden, and now this show making fun of sensitivity and making fun. What was your favorite thing? The BLM brisket. What was it called?
There was what was it? BLM, BLTs. There are all these things that the Homelander stuff. Like it is like makes fun of both the left and the right.
No, it doesn't. It makes fun of just the left.
It does. Like again, we have the AOC character, which I actually kind of like. That can blow people's brains off and their entire bodies off.
You think she's the AOC character?
She is AOC. She is obviously AOC. When you really pay attention, you're like, she's this young, independent, well, kind of independent perspective of things where she's trying to help change the government forward, whether it be the better or the worse, but she's really working for Vought. So again, it's like this idea of like AOC, she thinks it presents herself to be part of the left, but people can easily pay her off and have her perspective and her opinions change on a flip of a dime just if you pay her enough.
No.
Just like AOC.
She's her own independent female, number one. It's not AOC. And it's not like Newman's out there like protesting in the streets and shit. Like she's clearly coming from a place of power. She's giving the press conferences. AOC is more of a foot soldier at this moment. She can be, just because she's a hot chick doesn't mean she's AOC, Geno.
I mean, in season 2, she was a foot soldier, remember? There were all these press rallies, and there was that big moment where Homelander had that dream sequence, like in the middle, where he could have vaporized every motherfucker that was there.
Yeah.
In the moment, just in cold blood. And it's because Homelander is, again, a perspective. If you do try and think of it as, like, either Trump or a right-wing person, be like, I want to protect this country, and you're just trying to change all this because she is just trying to be more liberal and more focused on that. And then we find out about her and Vought, and we now know she's not a good person, but she cares about her daughter, and we're going to find out about hopefully her daughter and her superpower.
And you think Homelander cares about the country? Because Homelander cares about himself. Like, that's kind of the obvious. Like, with him, it's, I'm number one. Everyone should just love me. Why don't you all love me all the time? Just love me. All I need is love. I don't really get it, so I want more love. Like, I never thought it was like, America's the best. It's like, no, I'm the best.
Well, it's first is that Homelander for like the entire first 2 seasons. He's like, I do care about this country. It's this country first.
You
guys
say
are the real heroes. And then he finally goes in through season 3 where he just snaps and realizes, I don't care about you. I'm the real hero. None of you are heroes. None of you really could do the shit I do to protect you guys every single day. I'm the only true hero ever. And then he finally does like slowly still snap by these inner monologues where he talks to himself, where he realizes he needs to get rid of that last shred of humanity, which is that love that he needs from people, because he as a human is flawed, and that V, which made Homelander, was what was protecting him from that last shred of humanity, and now he needs to finally snap and be Homelander and get rid of John for good.
It's so fascinating because you have watched the show multiple times, right?
I've watched season 1 and 2 twice, and I'm digging season 3. I may watch again later the second time, but I've read into certain characters, like seeing what they might be doing, because especially like this season, the Kripke, or whatever his name is, said like, hey, this is gonna have some very almost obvious like hints of 2020. So like the whole going outside, you go outside, you're perfectly fine to do so. Not need to worry about like wearing a mask or protecting yourself. You're fine to do it. Go to movie theaters. Do all this. Like there's this subtle, but then also very obvious references to 2020.
So many, yeah. I mean, that's what I like about it. Is it really is like, go to movie theaters, and like we're being treated like dummies, and these are the people behind the scenes that are in control, and they actually know what's going on, and they're not telling us. Like that's why I watch it as a right winger, and I'm like, this show's fucking great because it is poking holes in all the logic that we've seen from the other side.
And what I do love is, again, yes, Homelander says that on Vought, yes, it's all these other people, the real Shadow Master, the people in charge of it all, when he knows it's really him and his group that are in charge of it. So that's the other best part, is like, he says to the people, so the public who believe him and believe his message, know that, oh, there's a real government, there's the real media that's trying to control it, but it's really him and Vought that's doing it all.
Well, yeah, and even like CNN with fire behind them saying mostly peaceful protesting. It's like Vought's trying to control the narrative. CNN's trying to control the narrative. You're only getting pieces of it. And that's why the show is pretty fucking good. Now, I like all these things that we talked about. We didn't talk about enough ass play. Like, I'm waiting for Ashley to get that glass dildo on and bang a bunch of dudes. Like, what are we waiting for? A season finale?
We are waiting for like this season to find out what Ashley's going to do, because she's been stepping up to Soups. Again, the last episode before this, she stepped up to A-Train. This last episode, she was just speaking to A-Train just calmly. She doesn't care. She's just being the marketing chick she knows she can be, and hopefully this means she might be able to stand up to Homelander. We're going to see what happens to Homelander, what happens with fucking, again, AOC, I'll say, her daughter, because her now having what's going to happen.
Call her Congressman Newman, please.
Congressman Newman is her name. I keep forgetting. Congressman Newman.
She's
now
so
having her
not
daughter
like
being
AOC.
We're going to also have, again, I'm really hoping that I was right with the prediction of Barry, that little boy that teleports, is the, what's her name? This is the son, the chick from the very first season, Wells' son, where he's going to hopefully get involved, because the whole Homelander still probably has feelings, knowing that he killed her and that her son is still alive, and now finding him one day, maybe that will come to about, because like he had that whole mother relationship dichotomy with her, and seeing the son again.
And there's been a lack of Ryan this season. Now, I do see in the chat, like Hutch was saying Homelander was a fake. Yeah, I did hear, like, even Zach was telling me, like, there's two Homelanders, and they're gaslighting the one version of Homelander and trying to convince him he's doing the other thing that the evil Homelander's doing. So there's like this weird, like, that's, I guess, what the comic books did. So like that could be what? There's two? Like, that would be an annoying twist if there's just a twin Homelander out there running around. But yeah, we'll have to see, because we're gonna have to see what they do with Maeve. We're gonna have to see. I mean, A-Train. It seems like they've kind of rushed. If there's only one more episode, I am curious to see what happens with A-Train and his storyline. Because he got the heart. Like, I don't know. It's just bizarre. Deep. He lost his girlfriend or his wife, so now he's gonna have to have one episode to fuck shit up or to make it work. Who knows? Noir is obviously gonna have to have some sort of fisticuffs with not only Soldier Boy, but now also Homelander, because Homelander was like, you wouldn't leave me. I think Homelander and Soldier Boy are going to team up, and I think that's going to be the big backfire. Like, we thought that, because in this episode we got to see, you know, Soldier Boy punch Huey, and he killed the priest. Like, he's clearly evil, is what I think, like, from what I've seen. So we brought this evil guy to help us beat the other evil guy, but now the evil guys found out their father's son, so they're going to have this weird moment of, why are we fighting? We're clearly more dominant and better than everyone else. So this is going to be fucking awesome.
It will be, especially what I did like, since you brought her up, because I forgot about this little subplot, which I'm really curious about, especially like how they've been doing the episode begins with something, whether it be something very subtle, very obvious, and it ends with the same thing. Like, again, we had the whole deep singing, and it was in the whole 4x, the whole portrait mode, and then we had fucking Starlight talking to people in portrait mode on Instagram. We had Maeve in this locked cell, and fucking Homelander talk about that he wants to keep her eggs and just fucking basically force the idea of her child and keeping her alive, just to keep you alive. I'm not doing it for me, I'm just keeping you alive, which is a great line I love from Homelander. And then at the end we found out, fucking Soldier Boy was experimented on. He chose to do or were forced for the experiment, and that he had a son he had no idea about because of this experiment. And so it's still like kind of was like one scene, another kind of mixed together. You see the difference.
And where's Ryan? Ryan's got to be upset with Butcher, so we could even have Soldier Boy, Homelander, Ryan, 3 generations of assholes, all against Butcher and Huey and MM and Frenchie. Oh, and Kamiko's got her powers back. So, who knows? Like, this whole season could just be building up to this main event. 6-man tag.
I do remember this one little thing from the Congressman Newman thing when she confronted Homelander. That little paper she had, they did have like a quick scene where Homelander is on the phone with Soldier Boy, but like it has an address, and I think that address is Ryan's home.
Oh yeah, I think so too. Because she did kind of say like it took a lot to get this or something like that, and we still don't know what it was. And she's hot. I remember when I first saw her, I didn't think she was hot. The more I see her, oh my gosh, Congressman Newman all day.
Yeah, so we're gonna see what happens with her giving Homelander the address to his son, and now knowing his dad is alive and that he's a son of the other hero. So it could be the 3 generations together. We can all see what's gonna happen with everything else. So hopefully we do get like Butcher realizing, oh shit, he's got to come to Ryan and he needs to protect Ryan. And even though he may die doing so, he wants to still protect this kid.
Well, and Starlight's going to have... I'm wondering if this just ends with... Because Starlight stole the Compound V. So I'm assuming she got enough to give to Huey and to Butcher as well. Because if they're going to kill themselves taking the fake V, maybe just give them permanent V.
That would actually be a smart idea if that's what she did, because we didn't see the entire shot what happened there. She just thought, she realized, oh shit, this might not be a good idea. So yeah, we saw her get one thing of V, and she gave it to Frenchie, but we didn't see what she did with the others.
Yes.
So we'll hopefully see it in the last episode if there was just real permanent V instead of the temp V.
I might have a dinner party this Friday, but if there's no dinner party, maybe I can watch The Boys. Maybe I'll watch some SmackDown. But tomorrow night, I'm watching Dynamite. Tomorrow night after Dynamite, Kevin and I will be live for the whole effing show. I'm sure you'll be there. I'm sure Tyler will be in the chat. I'm sure Hutch will be hanging out. It's going to be a fun evening. I don't know what's on tap for Dynamite. I've been unplugged from AEW all weekend. It's been crazy. Blood and Guts last week was one of the most fun shows I've ever had. I re-listened to Kevin and I talk about that. It made me laugh so hard to relive the Blood and Guts retelling. So we'll do that tomorrow. Great. We covered Money in the Bank. We'll have to get into Impact more next week. I've been so behind on Impact. The highs of Slammiversary and the follow-ups, I will get into it. I'm very behind. So I will watch this against all odds, Geno, and we will have to talk about that next time.
Hell yeah, man. It's going to be amazing discussing that next time, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow night where Thunderstorm is going to win a big tag team match.
I don't even know what that is. Is that Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm?
Yes, that is their new name. That they are Thunderstorm.
They should have got somebody else to team with because Love and Thunder comes out on Friday, so they probably could have got somebody else, like Brother Love and Thunder Rosa could have been a tag team, and that could have been Love and Thunder, and we missed that opportunity. Thor: Blood and Thunder this Friday. So, I saw the new Minions movie. That was fun.
Oh, nice. I was thinking about going to see that, but this Saturday I probably am going to see Thor: Blood and Thunder.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It was Blood and Thunder or Love and Thunder?
Love and Thunder. I think Blood because I just want. Okay. They need to make more dark stuff because like Doctor Strange was kind of dark, but it's because of the guy who was the director of Evil Dead still kind of doing his whole stuff, which I do like. His very obvious tricks that he likes doing, like the POV camera shot.
Dakota says Big Brother tomorrow. I have no interest. I have no interest in Big Brother this year. Like even my wife was like, "Are we going to watch it?" And I thought we can, and she was like, "Well, do you want to?" And I was like, "I don't know." Like I have so many things that I watch. It's kind of hard to want to commit to a 3-episode a week show right now. Like I barely have time to watch The Boys to talk about it with Geno. And once it's over, I'm going to be very upset. And everybody's saying I need to watch this Stranger Things show that I don't really. I've watched one episode, Geno. It was so boring. And everybody was saying, dude, like after 5 or 6 episodes, you're going to love it. It's right up your alley. People tell me it's right up my alley. It looks terrible.
It does take time to really get into the real stuff because, yeah, you have just these kids who play D&D and then you find out, oh, this Demogorgon might be a thing or something.
I don't know
but
what
you don't
that
know
means.
until like later on because this D&D kids that just play this stuff back in the 80s and 70s.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Yeah, Big Brother, and I think last year I thought the season was just so bad. I got really annoyed with everybody just kind of letting like one race get together and win. Like it felt like a weird race war where only one race was playing. And like if that was the case and the whole plan was just to have a black winner, let's just do a black season. Like that, if that's what they're going for, just do it. Like I don't even know what the cast looks like this year. Maybe I'll do some. Maybe we'll look into that this weekend, but not tonight, Geno. Tonight we're gonna get these uploaded and we're gonna ride off into that glorious sunset. What do you say?
Yeah, I think we should ride off that glorious sunset. Looking forward to these two big major title defenses we're going to have tomorrow night where no titles are going to switch hands. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be fantastic. It is on TBS, so title changes are a little more rarer. Has the title ever changed on TBS? Just tag titles, right?
I believe it has just been the tag titles. So, yes, I don't think the TNT title is going to change hands on TBS, nor is the world title going to change it. The interim world title. It's not going to change it.
Gross. Interim world title. All right, everybody. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow for the whole effing show.